On this episode of BLB, Jake and Adam interview known woodsman Jason Richards.
It was loud, big.
As a lifelong logger and Adirondack guide, Jason knows a thing or two about the forest.
Breaking a lot of branches.
You're saying this happens a lot. This is a common occurrence.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
So, I got something cool that I was researching on the internet a couple days ago. And you know how we found John Warren. And I found this guy here. He's supposedly got a bunch of experience in the woods. He's an Adirondack guide. His name's Jason Richards. He's free this afternoon. And he gave me his phone number and everything. He wants to meet with us, actually, today. So I don't know what you got going on right now. I know we were going to do some other research here, but since it's nice out,
yeah,
you know,
because definitely take advantage of the opportunity.
What do you eat? What's the book? I wonder if he's around. Hello, is this Jason?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Jason, this is Adam. I talked to you over Facebook there.
Yes. How are you?
I'm good. I'm here in our studio down here with Jake, and Jake's totally down for coming up and doing a little interview with you tonight, if that's cool.
Yeah, that would work.
We're just gonna get a couple things packed up, and we'll be up there in just a little bit.
Sounds good.
Hey, do you need anything from down here in the big city?
No, I'm all set.
Okay, good.
Looking forward to seeing you.
Yep,
All right,
I'm looking forward to meeting you, man. Okay, good.
Bye.
Later.
Boy, it ended up being a pretty nice day here for this. I haven't been up to Newcomb in a little while. I'm looking forward to hearing a point of view from an outdoorsman, somebody who's in the woods all the time. We didn't really talk much about stuff. I don't know if he's a believer, or if he just has stories, or if he's a non-believer. I kind of think sounded like maybe he had something to say. We're out in the middle of nowhere up here.
Lady Boreas.
Yeah, Boreas.
Yeah, I'm getting a good vibe off this.
Yeah, me
It's gonna be
too.
some good stuff.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more excited. I feel like we're going on a Bigfoot hunt, even though we're just going to do an interview. I think that's it right there.
That looks like.
Is that it right there? That looks like Jason Richards logging. Yeah, I guess he still is a logger. Let's pull right in here. That's gotta be him right there. That's him. Hey, man. Definitely. Hey, thanks. Appreciate doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
Good
How's it
meeting.
going? Nice to meet you.
It's going great. Not a bad ride up here either. It's always fun to come up here.
Sure is. You know, I can take you to a spot where I took a group of people out last year and in the middle of the night, some unanswered questions. It takes us about 10 minutes to get there and a short walk in. And,
Okay.
yeah.
No, that's doable. What do you say, Jake?
Sounds good.
So my name's Jason Richards, and I was born and raised here in the Adirondack Park. Grew up in North Creek, and my family and I moved to Newcomb a couple of years ago. I'm a logger. I picked up a family business, and that's what I've done since I got out of high school. And as well, I'm an Adirondack guide, outdoor guide. I do hiking, fishing, hunting, whitewater rafting, canoeing, all the good stuff here in the park. Spend a lot of time outdoors, pretty much every day, in the woods, taking things in, and really love love living here in New York and in the Adirondack Park. So, you know, unlike most people who get to maybe come out into the wilderness, you know, on the weekends or once or twice a year if you live in the city, I'm here every day. It's a pretty vast area, millions of acres of timber and wetlands, swamps, ponds, lakes, streams, lots to do.
Over the years, how many sighting stories or unexplained stories involving areas inside the Blue Line do you think you've come across?
Well, it's pretty tough for me to put a number on that. A lot.
Wow. Nice to join you guys here.
It's very nice to join you.
Just want to thank you a lot, man, for bringing us here.
Yeah, no problem.
Where are we right now?
Well, we're in the town of Newcomb. We're on the High Peaks Trail, the Santanoni Trail, via the Upper Works to Hawes Mine. And this is an entrance into the High Peaks. Pretty much from here you can go for days from here to, 25, 30 miles as the crow flies. Basically nothing.
It's just great that in such short notice you could be here and make this interview happen for us. So
yeah, well, I'm glad to be here and glad to talk about what I know.
Okay, great.
Sure.
Let's talk about what you know.
What's the oldest story you say you heard? Or what's the first story that you can remember hearing about of the unexplained and or an actual Adirondack Sasquatch sighting?
Oh, when I was a kid, I can recall my grandfather and my father, talking about incident when my dad was just a boy where they were in the back country fishing for a weekend and, had some pretty crazy things happen to them while they were sleeping at night. And, so that would be the first recollection that I can make of a...
What year would you put that around?
I would say in the late 60s, 1968 or 9, set 1970, somewhere in there.
It's going back some years.
Yep.
For sure.
What time of year do you know? Was it?
They were fishing, I believe it was in the spring.
Spring.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense to me. I recently come up with an idea that Bigfoot migrates kind of through this area and isn't a permanent resident here. It kind of, you'll have more activity in the spring when they're headed north, and then again in the fall when they're headed back down south.
Yep.
Maybe.
I know, like certain species like deer, they herd up into herds where there's could be 100 deer, and that's what keeps them warm and gets them through the winter. And the other big species being the bear, they obviously hibernate through it. This would be a pretty brutal place to have to spend the winter and search around for food that's pretty scarce. What does Bigfoot eat? I mean, honestly, they're probably herbivores more than anything, I would imagine. And then I couldn't say for sure, but that would be my guess.
I don't know. It's one of those things that I've always questioned, though.
Yeah.
If it's a meat eater or not, or like a bear, omnivore kind of thing.
Last year I had a group of people out to a remote pond doing some fishing in the spring, same type of scenario, and was awoke at night when everyone was sleeping by some things happening pretty close to the campsite. It was loud, big, and
You don't think that could have been a bear?
I think I didn't. I wanted it to be a bear. Let me put it to you that way. It just didn't really make a lot of sense. The noises and basically breaking a lot of branches at once, and definitely swinging things around. Luckily, I didn't wake anyone else in fear that loud noises would draw whatever it was closer to the campsite. I felt like it was after food. I can't be sure. It went on for about 25-30 minutes and then stopped. Needless to say, I didn't sleep much afterwards, and in the morning, got up to see what had happened, and couldn't really see anything. I couldn't see any tracks. I couldn't find a lot of broken branches. I searched around, and it just didn't make any sense to me. I still don't know what that was. I never have had a visual sighting. If I have, I probably would have shot. That type of thing. Just the sheer, magnitude of noises was just, like something was really, really fucking with me. Could it have been a bear? Yeah. I mean, it could have been a bear. But usually if a bear decides that he's coming into a campsite, he's coming into a campsite. It's a pretty intense trip. It's about 8 miles back.
Right.
So it's a lot of packing, and it's a lot of work.
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of logging is obviously in the daytime. The most common experience I have, and what people refer to, are tree knocks. And when you're working on a mountainside, and it's a clear blue day, no wind. No other noises, other than maybe a piece of equipment off in the distance, other than you in the woods. I definitely have heard, like somebody hitting a tree with a branch, on the other hillside across the way, that you can't see, and then, just kind of think nothing of it and go back to work, and it happens again. It happens a lot. It does. It really happens a lot. And I mean, I don't know any animals in the park, in the Adirondacks, that swing at trees with other trees. Could it be a woodpecker? No. This is big. This is not a woodpecker. This is from, 700-800 yards away.
You can just tell by where it's coming from and how loud you can hear it.
Yeah.
You just know it's not a woodpecker. There's no way it's a woodpecker.
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I hunt, and I'm in the woods all the time, and I hear pileated woodpeckers, and I see them from a distance, and that's too far away to be a pileated woodpecker. Sometimes, carry a cell phone in the woods, especially when you're by yourself, whether it be walking timber or, just if you're in there by yourself for the day. So I have a couple of recordings back at the house.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that I can let you guys have, and you guys can listen to them. And tree knocks from a long distance away, and maybe you guys can come up with maybe it is a woodpecker, or at least give me, you guys can analyze it.
We've actually been in touch with a guy who's going to be doing some audio analysis of some clips that I have, and some clips that I'm going to get from the internet.
Yeah.
So he can compare them to them, and then that's what you have. The more the merrier. We'll look at all of it and see if there's anything there.
It's kind of been like a flash flood, really, of information. We just kind of open up the pages and say, hey, why don't we take a look at this? And left and right, we're getting information and phone calls and people, and just happen like, with Mr. Warren, now Mr. Richards, our lab analysts, and other calls we've been getting that, interest is certainly piqued.
I was in this area last year actually searching for antler sheds, something we do in the springtime when the snow melts. The white-tailed deer lose their antlers early into the winter, and then in the spring of the year you can find the sheds. And I came across a hair sample in the woods, quite, a mile or two back in the woods near a swampy area. Came across it. It was probably about it was about eye level high in a tree, and you can see it's not a deer.
No.
It's not a moose.
No, definitely not moose.
And I don't think it's a
definitely
bear.
Not bear. It's not coarse enough to be bear.
Do bear have light colored hair like that on them sometimes?
They do.
They do?
On their chest patches, sometimes they'll get a white patch, but it's never this long.
It has some gold or some reddish.
It has a reddish tint, and it's very long. You're looking at 7 or 8 inch hairs, and that's pretty unorthodox for a bear. Really any animal in the Adirondacks.
What about some old hippie hiking in the woods?
Yeah, definitely could be. It could be a really dirty man. Or
it doesn't look like human hair though. To me,
could be part of someone's beard.
Yeah, it kind of could be beard hair.
But it's not thick.
Hey,
But
well,
here's
Look how
here,
thick that is.
here's the
compared to
kicker.
that.
The
It's not very
kicker
thick.
is the smell.
Oh yeah.
And this was from April 9th, 2013.
Oh man, I'm
Ah.
gonna put this man over here.
That smells strange.
Yeah, it's very
Hey, punch it.
musty. Very musty
Skunk
and
in
raunchy.
there.
And when was that? When did you get that?
April 9th, 2013. Last year we had kind of an earlier spring. We're into the middle of April already, and we still have snow on the ground, and the lakes are still froze. Last year was a little earlier spring.
Uh-huh.
Actually, you guys can take this.
Really?
Yeah, you guys take that and you know, do what you can with it.
I don't want to waste a lot of time looking at it right now, but I do want to check this out in some serious depth.
I mean, yeah, it could be. You know, it stinks though.
It does stink. Yeah, that's the thing too.
Hand it to me then.
We'll use some rubber gloves or something. I
Yeah.
don't want to even touch it. It
Yeah,
does reek.
I don't blame you.
We should send this to the lab.
It was in a softwood tree, like, you know, a softwood tree that has a lot of limbs that are dead, and it was about 5 feet up, stuck in one of a sharp branch, like something had brushed by it, and it had taken the hair off and left it on the branch. And it was, you know, it was wedged into kind of like a crack where the branch had broke. There was a wedge there, so it had stayed there for, you know, I don't know how long enough for me to find it,
Still reeks.
and it
Yeah.
reeked.
Yeah, it was
It still
probably
reeks.
like pretty gross when you actually found it,
It's
right?
yeah, it was bad. Yeah. Well, like I said, it
nice.
was in a where the tree lines change, so they go from hardwood to softwood, and in those areas are called travel corridors for animals. You know, it's easy walking between tree lines. So yeah, it's a travel corridor. That's what it is.
I think I got it. I just came up with an idea about that. Okay, think about this. If you're walking in the springtime here in a hardwood area, you can see through it. And if you're, but then at the same time, it's really hard to walk through a really thick, dense softwood patch.
But it's easy to get out of sight fast.
So you're running basically along where it breaks, and then you get out of sight right there. That's why it's convenient.
Yeah.
That's exactly why.
He can move along the hardwoods, haul ass in the hardwoods. Then if he hears and
It's the same for every
jeez Louise.
hunted species. I don't feel there's any reason to be scared to come into the forest, but that doesn't change, you know, the experiences that I've had. Carry a gun, carry something to defend yourself with. There's definitely hoaxers out there. There's people who get serious about it. I personally don't go out looking for Bigfoot or research about it. I just, you know, just experience the things. I don't really want to be that guy, Bigfoot hunter. I think that's what can happen is you can get consumed with, you know, the unexplained, and I like to consider myself a realist. So I try not to go there.
Now here's where the pavement ends.
On the next episode of BLB, Jake and Adam make it back to Deer Creek, one of the area's squatchiest locations.
I believe it was up here just a little bit further. We heard a bunch of peepers.
Jake's been nervous about this one, and for good reason.
I got into fucking 3 fights yesterday on the road. Squatch.
Will he be able to keep Adam under control? That's the question.
Gnarly dude.